Welcome to the Elk Season Podcast. We are your hosts, the Chambers Brothers. My name is Harold.
I'm David.
And today on the Elk Season Podcast.
Oh, we have a few things.
I know. It's been 2 weeks.
I feel like it's been a month.
Oh, a month worth of stuff.
Like 52 episodes in a year. Not this year. So
No.
we have excursions coming up, right? So we're going to talk initially about some excursions we have. But when we get to the conservation news, wow, is it kind of loaded this week? And we didn't even get it all in there because we're like, we got to cut it off somewhere. So, bears, again, wolves, water.
Yeah.
There's an interesting water story.
Yeah.
Gophers, which I just loathe. Hey, elk stories. There's actually more elk conservation news this week than anything else. And that's not typical.
Yeah.
But we also have an interesting outdoor chamber pot accessory we're going to talk about.
Yes.
Yes.
How do you phrase that again?
An interesting outdoor chamber pot accessory. You're welcome.
Wow.
So-
Wow, that is clickbait. That's going to be bold on the front of this.
Yes.
That is great.
Yeah.
So I just kind of want to get caught up. The last episode we did was 2 weeks ago. Was that episode 23?
Yes. So
this
this
is
is episode 24.
Episode 24. How many days till elk season?
Oh
we
gosh,
know?
it was
I know.
69 last time,
know.
minus 14, and you get somewhere in the high 40s.
Okay.
Is that right? No, the lower 50s.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, anyways, it's where we're really close to elk season. We're getting down there.
Yeah.
And so the first thing we did was we went out hiking. You and I did a camping and a hike.
Yeah, we were doing an excursion. We thought it was connected to our general hunting area. It was not, but not losing the opportunity to take some time to get to know the area in the heat and late spring. It's summer,
Yeah.
but holy crap.
There was a lot of snow.
A lot of snow
Deep
still.
snow. This is it's not doing too bad. That's 2 weeks healed now.
Oh yeah, that's right. I guess those. Well,
Yeah.
this is from a log from a different situation, but
Well, it was a lot more snow than I thought.
yeah,
Which-
tested my navigation assumptions related to my technology that I use to navigate. So I learned a few things along the way, and
I've never been good at following my GPS.
yeah, and
I've
I
never
was
been good at
too
it.
good at following a GPS that was flawed.
Yeah,
And when
yeah.
I finally came around to figuring out how to use the newer one, which is a Garmin InReach, which is a magnificent thing. I had a much better map on my phone if I would have just let that light bulb go off. But
Okay.
when you have an old tool, you get kind of handicapped and sucked into because I want
Yeah.
to use it and it's there and it's kind of cool and the battery life and blah blah blah. But yeah, I've realized that I just got to leave that at home
So
now.
you're in reach, and your wife and family can monitor every step you make when your in reach is on.
Yeah, it bings every 10 seconds.
Wow.
Every 10 seconds, it'll show our movement.
Yeah. So and that's what it did when we were on Bora last summer.
Yes. And that's what it finally dawned on me, like, why am I not using that feature? Because I watched us climb all the way up Bora.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, I thought it was a really good hike. We saw some elk.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, I was not expecting that. In fact, it goes back to a story I think we may have even shared earlier in the year where you and I were in a particular, what was the canyon? There's the Base Camp Canyon and then,
Yeah. There's Right Creek, Middle Creek, and Left Creek.
yeah, Right Creek, the long one.
Yeah.
And we were over there and we thought we heard some things and then we did, right? So
Yeah,
hearing the hoofs
yeah.
trample.
Yeah.
And you were behind me climbing over some deadfall, tons of deadfall in this area.
Yeah.
Not that it's impassable. We just you have to learn an area and then you have to figure out what the corridors are that are easy
The
hiking.
deadfall and the snow.
It sucked.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that again on purpose.
No.
It'll be much better going back without the snow.
Yeah. And with anyway.
Yeah.
But you were behind me and I thought I heard hoofs like
Right.
hoofing it out
Stomping,
of there.
yeah.
And I turned around and I was like, oh, he's just climbing over a tree. He probably knocked something.
Right.
Like that makes no sense to me now.
You know what? When squirrels pop a pine cone out of a tree and it thumps on a hollow log 100 feet down.
I'm not talking about a bump. I'm not talking about a couple bumps.
Okay.
I'm talking about clear sounds of hooves.
Okay.
Many.
Oh.
And I turn around and I go, oh, it's just Harold.
Yeah.
And I was like, at the time, I'm like, my brain just took that energy and it converted it to, oh, he's just back there climbing over a tree. And I look at it now and I'm like, that was absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
because we literally took another 10, 15 feet, and there was 20 yards from me a big cow running off, huge cow.
Yeah.
And then about what we pegged them at, 115 yards lower on the hill from that
Yeah.
cow that ran off for me was a fairly nice group, which
Yeah.
was proximal to where we were walking through the trees at.
Yeah. So
anyway.
we saw some elk, and it was a good group. And they looked really healthy. To
Really
you,
fat.
really fat.
I felt like they.
I
just
didn't
looked-
get I didn't get a good look at. 'Em.
The one that ran away from me was like, "Holy crap! Did
Yeah.
you even have your birth yet?" I mean, it seems a little late.
Yeah.
She was fat,
So that's good. That's really good.
and we saw a collared.
And one of the elk had a collar, so we know that they're tracking them up there. So it's good to be in elk country. We didn't hear any wolves. We had a really close encounter with a grouse.
Oh yeah, right right at the campsite
Yeah,
before we
yeah.
started hiking.
Yeah, we went down looking for it, and it had hopped up onto a limb.
Right at eye level.
It was like 18 inches away from
But
your face.
I'm like looking up higher, and when I finally saw it, it's 18 inches from my face. And the only thing yeah, he's like, "Get your phone." And the only thing I can think of is this thing's gonna peck my eye out.
I just could reach out and grab it, hold it still, and then take its picture.
Yeah. But
So
that was
I
pretty cool.
I love to see grouse. I love to see all wild game. I thought for sure there were some brookies in that stream.
I thought for sure too.
Well, we saw them.
I thought
Like
I saw
3-4
them.
inches, right?
Yeah.
But I just knew there had to be bigger fish. Where did they all go? Where did all the brookies go? It's okay if all the brookies are gone,
Yeah.
but there should be some other fish to take their place.
Yeah.
Brookies aren't native out here.
I think the most interesting feature on that hike was when we get to the meadows that we would come across where the snow's melting, the creek is running through the meadow, but the
Yeah.
meadow is still saturated with water to the point that I was taking my boots off to let my feet air out and dry out and all that stuff because I did step in a mud hole at one point.
Yeah.
But you'd walk across it and you wouldn't sink into it, but you would squish water out.
Right.
So if you were wearing socks, you'd get saturated.
Right.
But I was walking around in my bare feet out there and I was just like, man, it's so curiously squishy but not sinky, but I'm okay with it.
Right. Yeah, so just a little bit. I don't know if that was just because it's a different time of year or if it's a different kind of rock. I know it is in the Sawtooth zone. We did talk about being in the Pioneer zone.
Right.
These particular cams are in the Sawtooth zone.
Yeah.
And I have yet to declare. Tickets went on sale, I think, this week.
Oh, that's right, the 10th.
Yeah.
It's always the July 10th.
Yeah. So you can. There might be time to get a
Yeah.
Sawtooth tag. I don't think I'm going to, but if you have a Sawtooth tag and you want to collaborate on some video for these trail cams and a what are we calling it, a scouting report?
Yeah,
a scouting report. So my impression of the scouting report is I would probably change where I put the cameras. Because the open hillside where we saw the elk, there are some more open hillsides nearby. Those might be a little bit more active, a little bit easier to hunt because there's less deadfall. You know, when there's no trees, there's no deadfall. So it's worth a reconnoitering when at least I'll go back.
I don't know if I'll have time.
Sure. No. Yeah.
But I'm not.
It's all on me.
Even though I was a little bit heat stressed there at the end, I'm not opposed to going back.
Okay.
I just need to have the time to do it because
Maybe then there'll be some brookies.
it was
Man, where are the brookies?
it was fascinating. Plus, I don't know if you wanted to share the feature of it being your birthday.
Yeah, it was.
And we just happened, dumb luck, and I don't know how much this happens to you. It happens to me all the time. The
Yeah.
kind of dumb luck that we have like that.
Yeah.
Where, well, do we want to say the trail?
Sure.
The road?
Oh, geez, I know. Dang it. Yeah, I would, because you would know, and you go, oh, yeah, I know where the truck is.
So I guess we're just going to leave that carrot hanging.
Ah, dang it. Yeah, you're right. We did get a chance. That's a
Sorry.
bummer. I thought the same thing. Every time I go, oh, I'm excited to talk about this because no, I can't.
Yeah, I think we talked about that on the way home.
I did get to fly my drone at the Yankee Fork Dredge,
That was cool.
which was really fun. I made a video. I put it on the TikToks and on Facebook, and it'll be on our YouTube.
Yeah.
So that'll be that's always fun. I like abandoned structures, really old abandoned structures and stuff deep in the woods. They're fun to fly around and get a good view of a.
It's no longer in use structure. It does have a gift shop now, so
Yeah.
the old dredge. But we got there like 10 minutes after it closed, so
Yeah, literally.
no shot glasses for us.
That's all we ever need. But along the Salmon River. And I really wanted to scout some locations because, you buy the sportsman's package, you go, well, I got salmon tags.
Yeah.
I could catch some salmon. The salmon are running right now.
It's
They're running right now. I don't know how to catch them. I've never
I
been
don't
out
either.
there.
I don't either.
But
I do know that when we were there, the water was high.
It was. Yeah, that
I,
river is it's something. It's one thing to drive by, and it's another thing to stand next to.
Yeah.
Two different rivers.
I don't know how many times and I will have respect for all bodies of water this way now, because even though I've done this before, just something sunk in this last time.
Yeah.
Seeing it is one thing, and being right next to it is a whole other.
Standing next to it is God fearing.
Yeah.
That's a wild piece of water.
And the people are willingly jumping in inner tubes going down that thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if they do that in inner tubes. Do they?
I was being facetious.
Okay. I know.
Maybe.
I know if I know they float the Boise River, but every person has two inner tubes. So one for the beer cooler,
Yeah.
right? One for you, and it's clogged with people just drinking down the river.
Yeah.
So don't litter, please.
Yeah. Oh.
Please. Floating the river. I mean, that's a rite of passage to go on a river
Yeah.
once a year
And
get
that-
stupid drunk
I
and
think
sunburned.
there's nothing more that gets my goat than finding trash that you should have
Yeah.
just packed out.
Yeah.
This happened at Lake Alturas. So Lake Alturas is got another body of water just below it called Lake Perkins. And there's a little creek that goes from Lake Alturas to Lake Perkins. And I was up there, and I was actually camping with a buddy, and I was walking down the stream in Lake Alturas, and I found like 5 or 6 empty large, what are they, empty gallon things of like vodka. Like people are drinking and it's like, and I'm getting
When was this?
it was like 2007, 2008
Really?
maybe. And
Okay.
it was just a couple,
Yeah.
just an overnighter.
Yeah, I found a camping spot when we were up in Montana where people had littered.
And it's just,
And it's just in some beautiful wild country. It's like, why? I mean, clearly it was just one person that left that mess.
and it
But
just, yeah.
It's disturbing.
But I'll pick it up because you're
Yeah. And
not you. I mean, the person that left it.
and
Sorry.
I think
just for clarification.
there's no dirt road I don't want to see the end of, man. I took a few opportunities to drive some dirt roads when we were in Montana.
Yeah.
And
I wish I would have had more time to do that. I just didn't.
it's
You told me to go do at least one, and I didn't even get to
yeah, I know. I told everybody else the last time to do it, and I didn't even do it last
that.
year.
Well, I see how it is.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not going to miss the opportunities this year. I took Glenna a couple times out. I went a couple times. And anyways, so yeah, well, that's the Salmon River. That was where we put the trail cams for the scouting
somewhere
report.
along
Somewhere
a trail.
in the Sawtooth Zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I went to Annapolis, Maryland. We went to Maryland.
Okay.
And we went to see my son. My son is in the Air Force.
Yeah.
He's a linguist, and he's been out there with his wife for, he's been married a year now, and he's been out there for 2 years. But we went to visit him. We wanted to see the sights of
Yeah,
Washington D.C., of
absolutely.
the Capitol, and we did the big bus tour that takes you around. And the first impressions, I'll just give you a few of my impressions, because these are things.
Did you happen to stop by the National Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks?
I did not.
Okay.
The National Department of Montana Fish, Wildlife.
Yeah,
Parks.
my bad. Sorry.
So there's all these impressions, and maybe you have your own impressions of it. Have you been out there?
Only in picture books.
Yeah. So
I read
there's
a really
lot-
cool fantasy book about Washington.
There's
one
a
time.
lot missing. There's a lot missing, and I think one of the things missing is proximity. I live out west. Man,
Yeah.
I buy a full tank of gas because I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
and I know it's expensive, but I got some driving to do.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
over $100 just to get to Montana.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Look, gas was
Yeah.
about twice as much as it should.
And it
have
was
been.
so much cheaper in Montana.
Well, at least by like 40 cents. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
We're
I'll
like,
take it.
anytime we can fill up, we're topping off. It's like, it's cheaper.
But as we get out of it's not Grand Central Station, it is Union Station. And you can walk from Union Station to the Capitol. And across from the Capitol steps is the Supreme Court. And next to the Supreme Court is the Library of Congress. And behind that is the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial and the Jefferson Memorial and Arlington Cemetery. And it's just all, you can just walk everywhere.
It's like the Emerald Lagasse of sites. Bam! It's all there.
Bam. It really is. It really is. There's so much there, and there's so many tourists. It's very busy. And it was really super hot as we're approaching the National History the Museum of Natural History.
Yes.
It was, I'm carrying my son on my shoulders, and it's killing me because he's 50, 60 pounds now. He's 5. He's going to be 6 in October, and he's hunched over my head. So my head is being pushed down, and I'm trying to look at everything that's up there. All these
I totally bet, yes.
And the humidity is ridiculous. You just
Really?
everything
Okay.
just sticks to you.
All
you just
right.
go outside and you think like you're working hard because you're just sticky. And as we approach the Museum of Natural History, you can feel the cold air. There's so many people coming in and out. The doors are always open, and this cold air is pouring out like a waterfall.
Okay.
And you walk into it. You wade into this cold air. You go inside, and you slowly start to cool off.
And condensate.
Yeah, and decondensate. But so that was one of the big impressions. There was a lot of food vendors. I mean, bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper, getting ready for the 4th of July. Our plan was to go to the National Mall on the 4th of July. Now, I have a 5-year-old, and I have a 20-year-old autistic.
Yes.
They're not the best of friends.
No.
And I also have an 18-year-old son. Who's neither here nor there. It's like, yeah, whatever, sure, fine, I don't care.
Yep.
Anyway, a nice brooding teenager, and in order to see the fireworks from the National Mall, you need to wake up early and pick out a spot where you can be there to get your photo ops, and you need to have an umbrella, you need to have a wagon full of treats and ice, and we were not prepared to be that prepared, having flying all the way across. To be prepared for my adult autistic and my 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And so we go, and when I was carrying my son around, I really hurt my back. You know how your back goes out?
Yeah. Oh,
That happened.
never happens to me.
That happened to me.
Oh, goodness.
And I was I think more crippled than I have ever been from that walking crooked, that dad walk. Right?
I'm in pain listening to you.
It was so bad. And I'm pretty sure it was from just fatigue and then carrying Ozzy.
Yeah.
But I wanted him to see everything. So come on, I got to get him a backpack or something. I need to teach him how to hike more. I think I'm going to take that kid hiking. I'd be lucky to get him out of the car fishing. Just settle down. So, my dreams and reality, I guess the gap is a bit wide sometimes.
We all get there.
Yeah. But the biggest impression was Arlington National Cemetery, which was on. Everybody says you have to go. And I go, well, okay, it's a cemetery. I'm not sure what I'm going to get from this. So I went in really open-minded, like it's beautiful. There's all this. There's this. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is a big production there, and I'm glad that it is. It should be. There are so many unknown soldiers that have died for this country.
Yes.
And the unknown soldier is actually from World War I. And we went over to France and got him. We didn't know who it was, and we brought him back. And even the French came and did the same honors to our unknown soldier. To me, all these displays for this, all this work for this unknown soldier is all for all of the unknown soldiers,
absolutely.
obviously.
Absolutely.
And then the other part was Arlington House. There's a giant mansion called Arlington House there at Arlington National Cemetery. And as my wife and I are walking up to it, you can take a bus tour, but we wanted to walk. We didn't have the kids that day. So we wanted to walk, and as we're walking up to it, I'm like, I don't know who owned this house, but whoever did owned slaves.
Yeah.
And I mean,
That's the feeling you probably get. Yeah.
Big colonial. It was Robert E. Lee's house.
Oh my gosh.
Robert E. Lee.
All right.
I know.
All right.
I know. And it was, and inside are stories of how his family was horrified, how they had to flee their home when Union troops took over their plantation. And the proximity. I just talked about proximity. How close Arlington is to the White House.
Yeah.
It's walking distance.
Yeah.
Or not walking distance, but the state capital, the nation's capital, they are so close.
You know, I would imagine that anybody from the East Coast that is proximal to Washington D.C. has habituated to this reality of proximity.
Yeah,
and all of us Western staters,
wide open spaces, guys.
When we go there, it's kind of surprising. It's a culture shock. It's different.
Big time.
And so
big time.
It's yeah.
So that
our history is
that was very sobering to me. You know, and he only fled to Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah.
You go home and you look at Richmond, Virginia, you go, that's not far. They were still close.
Yeah.
They were still close. Right? I come back, I drive to Montana, and it is 6-7 hours in the car.
Yeah.
80 miles an hour.
Yep.
Just wide open spaces. And I see one place as being here and another place as being there, and not all of them all smushed together. So that's probably my big takeaway from going back east. That's the city boys' big trip out east.
The country boys trip to the city.
A country
is
boys
really,
trip to the
I think,
city,
what you meant.
Yeah, because even Boise's too big for me. It's too much. It's too much. I lived in Boise. Well, I lived up in the Treasure Valley. I lived in Nampa.
It was always a nightmare trying to find your house.
It was a nightmare to get to it.
Yeah.
Just but there's so much to do. Yeah, if you want to drive there. There's so much, it's another hour trip of stuff. Anyways, so that was that trip, and then we had a family reunion, and this will get us right into elk season. I swear,
this will segue us. Yes,
there are four important firsts or four amazing elk events in my life that have happened on the backside of Canyon Ferry. I call it the backside of Canyon Ferry,
which is just outside of Helena, Montana.
Yeah, it's and where our family was born and raised in Helena, and to have sort of neutral territory to meet all the siblings and all the kids. Yeah. We have we found a big campsite that we rented for the weekend, and we all met there, and it was a really fun time.
Yeah,
but it was on the backside of Canyon Ferry are the Big Belt Mountains, and it sort of starts at Gates of the Mountains.
Yeah.
And goes all the way to the pass that gets you through to White Sulphur.
Yeah.
And actually a little bit further south. But in the Big Belt Mountains, I had my very first backpacking trip.
Okay.
I mean, that set everything. I'm like, I can take everything I need and go into the woods and stay there. Boy, that was important to me.
Okay.
Always has been.
That's cool.
I heard my first bugle by myself. I was alone. And I was just outside the car. I was just kind of getting ready, and it's like a weekday because that's how I roll. And man, I heard a bugle, and it has stayed with me. It has stayed with me forever. The first time I ever saw a bull elk killed was in the Big Belt Mountains.
Okay,
right back there up Avalanche Gulch.
Okay,
and it was one of the you as you drive the backside. We were at Hellgate. Yeah. Then we went to right after that. I think is Avalanche. No, it's
Avalanche was right before that. I think I don't remember. Honestly,
anyway,
don't know. You know more than me.
I forget. I think it is Avalanche. It is Avalanche. Yeah, it is Avalanche. It's Avalanche and then White's, and Duck Creek is all the way down there towards Townsend.
Okay,
and Duck Creek will take you all the way into White Sulphur. That's how we got to the big field a few times.
Okay,
so when we had 2 flats and 1 spare.
Oh yeah.
We instead of taking our bad tire all the way back through town, we took the dirt roads over. Yeah, that was Duck Creek Road.
Okay.
Anyway,
that took me back.
And the biggest herd of elk I have ever seen in my entire life were right there in the Big Belt Mountains.
Okay.
One day,
I think you told me this,
one October or November, during hunting season, you drive up in there and you just see I got to say 300 to 500.
Wow.
You couldn't count them. There's so many because you count these ones and then they move by the time you're done counting.
Yeah.
And it was really one of the most tremendous sights. So 4 very, very important moments in my life as an elk hunter happened right there.
Wow.
On the other side of Canyon Ferry in the Big Belt Mountains. And that's not to include some of the one of the first very close encounters we had.
Yes.
Getting into elk.
It was rifle season.
Yeah.
And you had tag, brow tine, or larger.
Right.
And it was funny because it was cold. We have very few resources. We had hiked. Was that the day? Was that the day we hiked up there? I don't think it was the day.
No, it wasn't. I think it was the day after.
Yeah.
The day after, because the day of, we didn't see anything.
Yeah.
It was snowing. All the animals were
And we say the day of, there was a time we went up there near Monte Carlo and didn't get it. Anyways, long story longer. It was the next day. We come over this little knoll and we see elk on this little hillside, and we're like, there's a bunch of cows, and you kept insisting, and this is my memory anyway.
Yeah.
You're like, there's got to be a freaking bull over there somewhere. And we just couldn't see it. And we had, those cotton gloves in the snow that are soaking up and we're
Just
getting
everything.
frozen.
Yeah.
And we had, I think, a really cheap pair of binoculars, maybe.
Yeah, they were my father-in-law's.
Ah.
Or my soon-to-be father-in-law's, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, those were my father-in-law. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
So,
It's been a long time ago.
so
okay?
I just remember looking, and I didn't have very good eyesight anyway, because my eyes were just bad back then.
Yeah.
But I kept looking, and I'm like, those look like some pretty stout weeds on the other side of this ridge.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
there was an elk bull on the other side of this
Yeah.
ridge. You couldn't see him, but you could see his
you see the
antlers
tips of
sticking
his
up.
antlers moving back and forth, and you're like, "That's a big bull."
And so I'm like, hey, Harold, there it is. And
Yeah.
so we come up with a plan. I think one of the best plans we ever had. Because
Yeah.
had this bull been legal, he would have been dead.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
so
for sure.
we went up on top of this bluff that goes above this ridge line where they were feeding, and we hiked on standing upright for a while because it was just out of sight from them. And then we got proximal and we got down on our knees and we started kind of
Yeah.
doing the shimmy thing.
Yeah.
And then you started feeling that rumble of, okay, they sniffed us because we did go upwind of them.
Yeah.
And then they came up like 40 yards away from
Yeah.
us. All in a line, and they rode the ridge line out of there, and that bull came up last,
Yeah.
and it was this stupid little spike.
It was a spike. But I tell you, from the way his antlers were wiggling back and forth at 400 yards, you thought for sure
And
he was much bigger.
They were tall spikes, and they
were.
were, and they really bowed out more
Yeah.
than you. It was kind of
Yeah.
crazy. So my memory is
Yeah.
fairly complete. There, it sounds like you didn't really protest much of that.
No. That's a pretty good. That's a pretty solid memory. That's how I remember it.
Okay.
We did. The first time I ever saw mountain lion tracks in the snow was right up there with you. And
Wasn't that same day?
the size of a pie tin.
It was huge.
Oh my
Huge.
gosh, that was surprising. So yeah, a lot of, whatever the bobcat thing was.
Yeah, we came
What
across a
weird-
bobcat.
Yeah. And then I learned a lot about we did the Gates of the Mountains tour.
Yeah,
on the
Gates
boat.
of the Mountains.
Yeah.
Wasn't quite the memory I remembered, but it was. But
Yeah.
it was a fun little tour.
Yeah, they talked about the bats.
Yeah, that
That
bat
was
thing was
that was the first
insane.
like the coolest thing was just like right when they started. There are so many bats that the limestone has so many holes in it. There are so
Yeah.
many caves. There are so many bats, and we are getting eaten alive by mosquitoes at
At our
campsite.
camp, yep.
But we drive an hour to the Gates of the Mountains, and there's like, hey, there's no mosquitoes here. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
We're like, what? He goes, the bats come out at night. There are so many bats. They eat all the bugs.
He said bats and something else, but it was.
I have a bat box story.
Yes, I
don't
saw
know if-
that.
okay.
I saw that.
So anyway, so all this comes together for great elk season
Yeah.
podcast. So many memories in the Big Belt Mountains.
And just one last thing about that Gates of the Mountain tour. So we talked before about them culling mountain goats out of
out of I think the Tetons.
Tetons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
They don't belong there.
So
Yeah.
I took this Gates of the Mountain tour in junior high, 7th grade, I believe.
Yeah.
And so I remember us doing the boat thing, and we were kind of cruising along, and all of a sudden the boat, you feel the motor slow down, then it starts to turn.
Right.
And he pulled us up right next to the shoreline, and there was a goat right on the shoreline on one of these steep parts.
So white.
Yeah, and it just stuck out. So on the tour now, we're talking 25, 26 years after the fact. The mountain goat, which was apparently introduced there,
Yeah.
has moved on because it didn't like it.
Yeah.
So apparently within my lifetime, I think if you were to take that tour and you heard what he said, you would think it was long, long ago that these mountain goats left, but it was within the last 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy to me because
Yeah.
I feel like people wouldn't believe me
Yeah.
if I told them, well, I took a tour there in 1994.
It's a
Saw a goat.
short story. man's influence on big game in the West is a short story. That's 200 years.
Yeah.
That's really not a lot.
Well,
and as we depleted the buffalo herds, 150 years ago,
sadly,
and we depleted the beaver, and we depleted so many things, and then the wolves. It was a matter in the 20th century.
Yeah.
It was a matter. It was a policy to eradicate wolves.
Yeah.
As much as it became a policy to reintroduce them later in the 20th century. So it's a short story.
Yeah.
So and
it's still going.
You're right. We thought, oh well, this will be perfect for mountain goats. Why aren't they here? Let's bring some in.
Right.
And they go, I'll tell you why. I'll see you later.
It's kind of like this is a great place for goat heads. Let's bring those. I don't know if those are introduced, but goat head. Sorry, I was trying to make a really dumb analogy, but
those goat head bikes.
Who was I talking to at camp? And they're like, I don't know if you have these in your hometown because I don't buy bikes at my house because these goat heads. I'm like, they're like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, we got special inner tubes and tires and stuff.
Yep.
We're good. Oh, anyway. So in the conservation news, something to support my description of the elk we were seeing up there. Big fat cows.
Yeah.
Apparently are healthy this year. Elk Hollow Guide Service. I don't know where you got this, but there's a picture of some cows and they look like the cows we were seeing up there.
Yeah.
And big, fat, delicious. Walking elk steaks.
Yeah, the elk looked really good. It was just nice to see them. We didn't know if we were going to see anything. Every time we go place cameras in our normal hunting areas, we're like, we know we're going to see elk today.
Yeah,
we know.
So to be able to go to a new place and just see the elk, but we've also gotten better at picking out areas that we know are going to harbor elk, which was not the case necessarily the decade before the last decade. So
speaking of which, I'm laughing at. I had another crazy idea.
Oh goodness!
Because you get onto Google Earth. Has anybody ever found an elk on Google Earth?
Oh yeah.
Please. I look on Google Earth all the time. My wife's like, "Why do you spend so much time on Google Earth?" She's like, I'm looking for elk.
Yeah.
She says, well, don't you get tired of looking for elk? I go, well, I haven't found any yet.
Yeah, so we find crazy things all the time. Like that one time we found an airplane captured in the Google Earth shot over there by
just along the Snake River. Yeah.
And so it was like, well, that's weird and cool at the same time because that plane is nowhere near the ground, but it looks like it's just sitting there on the.
But I think if we can see trees, individual trees.
Yeah, you'd think you'd be able to see big animals.
I think I'd be able to see an elk, and I have never seen an elk. So here's a question. I look through some of the most beautiful, pristine elk country that this country has to offer.
Yes.
In the central Idaho mountains, in the River of No Return Wilderness area.
Yeah.
Would you do a helicopter hunt with me if I said, hey, let's go in for 4 or 5 days. They're going to drop us off. We're there. That's camp. We hunt. They're going to come back in 5 days and pick us up. Are
I guess
you down?
the caveat is if I can get the time for that.
So it's a matter of time.
It's a matter of time.
Of course. Then it's a yes.
Because, yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I'm like, how much would a helicopter be? Because, man, there's so much room. Honestly, how much would a helicopter be? Because if you can avoid trailheads, if you can avoid
people.
Yeah, tons and tons of people. You could have helicopter crews busy all season long, and be places that nobody ever goes, ever.
Interesting thought.
There are some. So I've started to peg some locations for possible helicopter hunts.
All right.
Anyway, I just I think it's
big fat elk. You would wonder why predators aren't just chasing after these big fat elk, because this next story starts us off with and I saw this video before, a trail camera caught a grizzly chasing wild horses.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I guess they're wild horses. I guess it's fair game.
It is,
but that's crazy.
I've heard some ecologists argue that the wild horses, although not indigenous, are indigenous enough. This land used to sustain wild horse populations.
Yeah.
They're not those wild horses.
No.
But they are wild horses. So
it's kind of interesting to see how they can just ever since they got brought over here, they've adapted and just thrived. Which says,
there's a niche.
There's something about
there's
that.
There's a niche available.
And somewhere they had gone extinct before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
but
kind of a
it's nice to see that they're preyed upon.
yeah.
Good. Keep the populations healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shooting a grizzly in self-defense. Tell me about this one.
So
what do you know?
we talked about it earlier. We talked about it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
They had a bear bait station, and they had killed a black bear, and a grizzly bear come up on them, and they had to kill the grizzly bear out of self-defense, and it has been ruled a self-defense killing now. Just to get everybody caught up on that story.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, look, bear spray is my first go-to, but if I'm getting pursued more,
Yeah.
what options do I have?
Yeah.
You know, when I'm bow hunting, I just have a bow and an arrow. So I hope I can knock something before it gets to me, which I don't think would happen. I think I'm down for the count if he's like, oh, you're going to pepper yourself? Because I like my food peppered.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there aren't grizzlies in our area hunting area yet. And I'm okay with that.
we saw plenty of wolf scat up there, by the way. We didn't see wolves, but we saw wolf scat where we saw
didn't
these
see
elk.
or hear, and I really thought we'd hear them. Being deep in the sawtooths like that,
Yeah.
there's a lot of wolves in that Stanley area.
You know, I would say that where we are at is less traveled by man
Yeah.
than where we actually hunt.
Oh yeah.
And where we hunt, we've seen the wolves chasing the elk.
Yeah.
Well, you did. I kind
Well,
of saw.
We saw him. We saw him on my birthday
Yeah.
one year.
Yeah.
And then I saw him on Labor Day one year. Labor Day morning, Monday morning.
Yeah.
That's what I woke up to. They weren't actively chasing elk, but I saw 3 wolves and I saw 5 elk in the same hillside in the same 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like wolves chase elk away from a general area.
Right.
You know, they're only successful 1 out of every 5 hunts.
Their predators are simply looking for the one they can get.
Right. Right.
They're not going to chase it until they
Right.
can't. No, they're going to get the one they can get. And
That's
a
it.
population is going to grow to where that's going to happen, and that rotation is going to anyway. I'm not an ecologist. I'm not a biologist, but that's my understanding.
I'm not either of those things, although sort of educated as in the biology and ecology. So it's a fascinating subject to me, and I like the content. I like where it's going. So
Idaho Fish and Game. I'm sorry, the Idaho Division of the Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks of the Magic Valley are attempting to capture a black bear in the Ketchum area that acted aggressively towards a resident who was probably an old lady feeding it. But sorry, that's a stereotype threat. I don't know. Sorry,
all old ladies just like to feed bears,
except that one that fought off the black bear with a chair.
Yeah,
She didn't want nothing to do with him.
So
anyway, her door reported being opened. A woman reported opening her door and tried to verbally shoo a bear. Hold on. So this correlates with a later story that I've added.
oh, okay, really?
I see a bear. I don't know. I get that you should be able to open your door and shoo it away, but it seems counterintuitive.
Yeah,
Because if you don't know if the bear is going to be aggressive or not, why expose yourself to it?
I guess it depends on the distance.
But
If I have time to shut the door before the bear gets to me, right?
yeah.
Is a door going to help?
I don't know.
A little
Well,
bit. Have you seen the footage of the Ring camera of a grizzly bear coming in the front door?
No.
It's like the SWAT team when they're really mad.
All right.
Really mad. That door comes off the hinges and flies through the living
So
room.
I guess I'll reserve judgment. I think I was trying to make something out of nothing on that.
So that's when a grizzly bear does it.
Yeah.
But black bears are much smaller. They're much less aggressive. And maybe, when you live up there, maybe you just shoo bears away once in a while. You just get used to it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That grizzly bear that was chasing the wild horses might want to move to Yellowstone because there's plenty of food there.
Yeah.
There was a bear caught, apparently in the last week, taking out a bison in front of the tourists.
Shut up. Did
Yeah.
you get that? Is that your story?
I
How
sent
did
that
I miss
in.
that
I don't
one?
know, but I knew I had to put it there.
Oh my gosh.
And it chased-
That's bad.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean it's not the biggest bison in the world, but that's a
It's
bison.
a bison.
And
You see, bison are big and, strong.
And there's a video. So I just took a screenshot, but yeah, man.
Yeah.
And it chases it to the river eventually. And of course, you know how that ended for that one elk.
Yeah. Did he drown it again?
Well, I don't know if it got because the video cut, but it was
okay.
clear that bison was losing.
Oh yeah.
That bison was about to be dinner.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Nature is rough, man.
Yeah, and it's brutal because you'll see clods of hair being tore off the back out of
Yeah.
this bear's just clomping down on this
Yeah.
the tail end of this.
It's life and death for both animals.
Yeah.
And life for who wins and death for who doesn't. So
And hopefully, if we do run into, if we do have an incident with an animal, we don't have major injuries. This next one is about a young girl returning to the woods after being attacked by a mountain lion, so a different predator in this
right.
case. But
And this is another story that we covered a couple times.
okay.
As with the girl was attacked, we talked about it on the podcast. Another week later, we had an update about how she was doing in the hospital.
Yes.
And now we have an update. She's back in the woods.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hopefully, recovering and not too traumatized from the
Yes.
experience.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot for what, a 9-year-old? How old is she?
It doesn't say
Very
here.
young.
It does look like a young lady, though.
But yeah, that's a lot. I don't know. You'd you'd be the one to ask. Is going back into the woods the right thing to do?
It depends on the person's
Okay.
ability to find resilience through the adversity of what they've gone through. So some people
Okay.
it takes a while, other people are just ready to go back. It just depends. It's always it depends.
If I forced myself to go back, if I said, yeah, I am scared now, but I don't want to be, so I'm going to go back to not be scared. Is that healthy? I don't know. Anyway,
It depends on how you compartmentalize
Okay.
it, right? So I think one way to look at it would be is if you got attacked by an animal in the wild and you have this classical conditioning paired association of the wild means getting attacked.
Right, okay.
If that's your frame of reference, then you're going to have a hard time returning to the wild. But if you are, I'm in the wild, this animal is a part of the wild, and it was just an unfortunate incident.
Wild things happen.
Though
Yeah.
I am scared of this wild animal, I'm not scared of the wild. So it's about separating
okay.
the events. And so how well are you able to do that determines your, I would argue, would determine your ability to move through the trauma of the situation and move back to the
Yeah.
woods.
okay, yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
That was good. Okay. What's next?
Anything's fair game when you're in the backcountry. So elk hunt turns into an unexpected wolf hunt
yeah. Yeah.
after a pack appears. So well, I know that you would like not hesitate, and we've talked about it,
Yeah.
because we have the tags.
Yeah, we do, and we have, we have an elk population that we hunt to help maintain its numbers, and we have a wolf population to help us maintain those elk populations. Because when they took all the wolves out of Yellowstone, they honestly were thinking, oh, what'll be great? There'll be more animals to see. There'll be more bison. There'll be more elk. It'll be great. And there were. And then in the wintertime, these gigantic, unnecessary herds would leave the park and trample a lot of land, run down some fences, and
Spread brucellosis.
and spread brucellosis. Well, and not only that, they would really just destroy a lot of fences and a lot of collected hay.
Yeah.
And they had to kill in the thousands. They had to just slaughter and butcher bison and elk in the thousands. So, well, let's put the wolves back in. Okay, the wolves are back in, but the wolves are growing and they're doing great.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that they're doing exactly that, no more and no less. And that means we need to kill some wolves. It's just part of
active management.
it's part of the active management.
And
And I like this story because they took the time out, and it's okay to talk about it now.
Yeah.
It feels like not very long ago you don't talk about killing wolves. Oh, they're just like dogs, and you'd have these certain people. I don't
Okay.
know. They're out there.
Yeah.
You've never met them.
oh, I know.
Oh, okay. You look surprised.
I
for a
was just
second.
giving the face for the video.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's refreshing to know that they exist as well.
They do.
And it's not a matter of I want to kill them because I hate them.
I
Right? I think they're beautiful. I think they're great. And and I think they belong there.
Yeah.
And I think they need management. That's all. And so I'm all for the guys stopping an elk hunt because a wolf is a rare thing to come across.
Yeah.
And if you kill with a bow. Occasionally there are guys that kill wolves with bows.
Yeah.
And whew, that's getting close. That's really close. And hats off to you. I would.
And there's
try.
going to be more guys, and because
Yeah.
we have a pack of states that are joining the reintroduction of wolves. So with the Arizona division of the Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, and the New Mexico Montana Department.
Thank you.
Anyway, all of that.
And Mexico Department of Montana Fish, Wildlife,
Yes,
and Parks.
yeah, all of that.
Actual Mexico. They're all working together to bring back the Mexican wolf in the Southwest United States.
Yeah. I wonder how that'll change the hunting, though, because like the next one is about the New Mexico division of Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks selling tags, first come, first serve.
Is that a change?
I don't know, because you have your screenshot has a volume
Oh,
knob in it, so I
son
can't
of
read
a
it all.
biscuit.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Sorry, part of my snapping a screenshot is my volume button.
yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway, something about, pardon me, something about New Mexico having licenses being sold online on a first come, first served basis. Residents, youth, and senior who applied and were successful in the 2022. Anyway, yeah, so they go on sale 10 a.m. July 27th. That's a special day.
That's a very special day.
Yeah.
So you're going to be 41?
41. All I can think of
You're
is
a long way from the water. That's all I'm going to say.
all I can think of being 40, turning 41. I think I have the line right from Ben-Hur. He's on the boat. 41.
Oh, really?
That's he's a number on the ship.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he's number
yeah.
41. 41. Why did you stop? Why are you helping the man next to you who should just be thrown in the water? Well, because I don't know. I don't remember the movie. But
Yeah.
I believe he was number 41.
Okay.
41.
41.
Fact check me that.
And it's fun to say 41.
41. In a Roman condescending way.
You know, because all Romans have a British
Attack
accent.
speed. They got the drum on there. Anyway, sorry. Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
Look it up. Fact check me. If you're watching this and you have
You
time.
sound older. You're only going to be 41, but you sound older than me right now talking about Ben-Hur.
Look, if you
It's
have
an
enough
epic
time,
show.
if you have enough time to watch this, fact check me on 41.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
According to Idaho Department of Fish and Game, 15 elk. Oh my gosh, I just saw
This
this.
is a crazy story.
This blows my mind.
Nuts.
It reminds me of stories that we've talked about before. So like the herds that are on the railroad tracks when a train comes through in the wintertime. The elk in, I think it was Park Lake, Montana in the early 1990s that fell through the ice in the lake.
And antelope running off a cliff in the fog.
Yeah, and antelope huddling in a place where it's called 7 Mile Turnoff, just south of Shoshone, Idaho. There's a turn into Jerome, and it's called 7 Mile North. And there's a little low spot there. The fog had settled in, and antelope herd had settled in on the highway there, and a big delivery truck came barreling through there and took out about 15 of them.
Wow.
It was horrible. You came through there that time, and you would just see all this blood splatter everywhere.
bloodstains,
'Cause antelope aren't that big, so this big delivery truck, they didn't stand a chance against it. But these elk, apparently, now they're still gathering information, but the officer in the video that I watched and in the article I read says that these elk, at least 15 of them, they had found 15 head. They're all piled up. It's like a mass grave.
And what happened?
It appears to have been a rock slide.
Okay.
So you can find the leg bones and you can see some of them snap. There's boulders that are intermingled with the bones and the carcasses. So the elk were coming through it. Like I would imagine some of the places we hike when we're hunting that I'm always like, what if?
Yeah.
Well, there's what it is. There's the what if.
Something I always say when I'm elk hunting is I am always one step away from needing to be rescued.
Yeah.
And it's a constant thought. I twist my ankle, I turn my knee. I don't need help. I need rescued. and those animals out there living it all year long, man, and they
That's-
are tough.
That's all they got.
And they are tough. And a big rock slide. How many did it kill? At least 15?
At least 15.
Wow.
And looking at his video, you slow it down. You're just like, where do you even begin to count? All you do is you find the skulls, dig for
Yeah.
the skulls, and then you'll kind of know. But there's no knowing. He says there's no way of knowing what bone goes to what animal.
Yeah.
You just find the
Oh, it's
skulls.
that mangled.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's horrible.
So I know some of those some of those shale rock hillsides are just like razors. Here, hand that over. Let me look at it. Oh. Holy crap!
I mean, watch the video. You need to go find the video.
Yeah?
It's a span of like 30 or 40 feet of carcass.
Wow.
Hair,
How old
bone.
is that? Did that? Like,
It's probably within the last year or so because
Really?
there's still a lot of fur. He goes,
Yeah.
there doesn't seem to be a lot of predation, which he thought was a little bit bizarre, but
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy. But it's also, nature is unrelenting.
Yeah. No. Yeah. There's no respite for anybody.
Yeah.
Any creature.
All right. So this next one pulls at our heartstrings because we've talked about this a few times. And when I first read that, I was like, what's special? Oh, I see what's special about this. 17-year drought breaker.
Yes.
Okay. 17 snake
Yes.
bit years after he took up the bow, he finally gets a cow on opening day.
Hang in there.
Yeah.
Hang in there, brother. all my brothers and sisters, hang in there.
It's a process.
Archery elk is the greatest outdoor sport in North America because it's hard. 17-year drought. If it's been longer than that for you or less than that, hang in there, man.
I think technically
Your year's coming.
I started hunting elk, bow hunting for elk. It's been longer than 17 for me. It's been almost 20
Yeah.
because it was 2003 when I got my bow stamp.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's almost 20.
Almost 20.
Yeah, 19.
So I've had many.
You haven't been actively hunting all that time.
right.
but-
So there, I take about 5 years away from
Yeah.
away from that, to be
Yeah.
fair. So it's been about 14, but I wanted to be actively hunting all those other years, but education kind of took my attention away from the hills. Capped elk zone tags on sale July 13th for the Sawtooth.
That's the Sawtooth
wait.
Zone.
Oh wait, they go on sale July 11th. The Sawtooth tags go on sale July 13th.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm reading this all wrong. There are certain zones that are capped, and certain capped zones are going to go on sale the 11th of July here in Idaho.
Right.
But the Sawtooth zone is going on sale, which will
Yesterday? The day before?
yesterday,
Yeah.
as of this recording, would be the day before. So
Okay.
the 13th. Today's the 14th.
Yeah.
So, and we've talked about that. The Sawtooth is a coveted place to hunt. And,
Yeah.
And
Maybe we'll find out just how coveted when we retrieve the trail cams.
yeah, maybe that changes our mind to change.
If you see a big enough bull,
I saw a big enough cow.
I know we're not chasing antlers, but we're chasing bulls, we're chasing antlers.
I saw a big enough cow. All the cows and even the calves that they had with them were all healthy and fat.
Yeah.
And I was just like, my goodness.
And we have from our other hunting location. Last year I got a picture of 5 raghorns in one picture
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
same grassy area, just 20 minutes
Yep.
from where we camped.
Yep.
I mean, an lazy 20 minutes. Probably more like 10.
Yeah.
So
Are you talking about the lounge?
yeah,
Yeah.
they were in the
Oh, yeah.
lounge.
It's not.
That's
it's
where
not.
they're
A,
hanging.
it's not 20 minutes from
From where we backpack up to.
backpack. Yeah, I was gonna say.
the
I'm
landing,
like,
yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. Which camp? I'm confused. I got it. So anyway, we'll see.
Anyways, that's the Sawtooth Zone.
yeah. The Montana Division of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks
Yeah,
has teamed up with the University of Montana to conduct a study summer on roost sites for bats.
yeah.
This is interesting.
So I read or heard some story about bat houses, putting up bat houses. I've always liked
Yeah.
a more natural way to combat insects rather than insecticide.
Yeah.
And so having some natural predators. And I always thought, well, bats are great. They
Yeah.
they stay up in the day and they don't bug you. And they'll come down and eat mosquitoes and they'll keep your garden, keep a lot of bugs out of your garden.
Sure.
Chickens are great to have in your garden. eating all the grasshoppers and stuff. I mean, just there's so many natural solutions. So I've always liked bats, and the whole thing in the Gates of the Mountains was super extra cool.
No mosquitoes.
No mosquitoes. So I thought, yeah, you could enjoy your home a little bit better if you put up a bat house. And
Yeah.
I don't know where I heard about them, is because it's been so long ago.
Yeah.
But a bat house isn't a bad idea. Now when I see a bat house on a house, I'm like, ooh, cool bat
Yeah.
house.
And I'm thinking too, because I came across a meme or something that talked about, hey, put up a bat house in your yard, and when your HOA tells you to take it down, tell them you can't because bats are protected, and then they can't leak, right? So I think there's something to that. There's a little truth in all jokes,
Yeah,
right?
I know that bats, having a bat house, it may bother some people.
True.
You know, bats and rabies, and it's a serious
Yeah.
issue. But
They're cute little fleshy wings, and they look like rats that are in the air. Come on,
Yeah.
what's not to love?
yeah,
Feed them fruit. Okay. Wait, they like bugs. Sorry, not fruit bats. Never mind. I went somewhere I didn't need to go.
it's all right. It's all
Hey.
right. Feed them some crickets.
The water situation in the United States is fickle depending on where you're at. We know that Lake
Yeah.
Powell and Lake Havasu, all of that is just
Yeah.
in dire straits right now.
Yeah, Lake Mead. Yeah, the
We-
Colorado River's in really tough condition.
We have been very much rewarded with moisture here in Idaho this
Yeah.
year, to the point that now even the Boise Payette and Weiser basins are officially out of drought status.
Completely out of drought status.
And that, at least for now.
yeah,
So, and
good
I was
news for now.
I was surprised, because when we were at Canyon Ferry Reservoir,
Yeah.
completely full,
yeah,
and but Clark Canyon Reservoir, which is southern Montana, there was
Yeah.
it looked like it was in dire straits. But I wondered if there was still a late runoff or something from the snow, because there was a lot of snow up there on those hills. But
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. There were so many storms coming through. Did I tell you about the storm that came through when we were at McDonald's?
yeah, the lightning strike. I'm still nervous for you, and you're okay. So
Ooh, it still makes my butt pucker a little bit. When I came out of McDonald's in Dillon,
yeah,
I saw a flash of lightning and I heard a zzz, and I looked up at the top of the flagpole outside the McDonald's.
Yeah.
And it was like sparking. And I'm like, and there was another lady there who saw it. She was putting her dog in her car. And I'm like, all right, it's time to go. Get in the car. And my son, who's like, I don't know what you're talking. And then the thunder hit. And he's like, okay, I want to get in the car.
yeah.
But yeah, and we had a lot of rain almost every day.
And
Good big storms
Well,
too.
and the frustrating thing about the rain isn't that the rain existed. It existed at the moments where you get back to camp and you just want to hang out and talk to your family. But
Right.
you can't, because you have to scramble to your tent.
Right.
So it was a family unreunion in a way, because it was like,
Yeah.
let's gather but not talk.
Yeah, it was kind of frustrating, and it seemed to get worse.
Yeah.
Like each day the storms last a little bit longer, and you're like,
Yeah.
all right.
But-
But last year, and you didn't go last year, did you?
No,
Last year, I'd rather have the rain, man.
it was so hot. I heard.
Oh,
yeah.
there's no respite, man. You go to the lake, sure, get a bunch of lake water on you. You get in the car and drive for a while, go down some dirt road, and just let the AC dry you off a little bit. But it was just hot, just super hot. So it was a lot more relaxing. But the mosquitoes, the mosquitoes on Canyon Ferry, they're
not the biggest mosquitoes I've seen. Up in the Wisdom area tends to always be my. That's where I
Yeah.
see the biggest ones.
So I want to talk about real quick, a little bit more about the backside of Canyon Ferry, because we used to enter through a place called Cave Gulch,
Okay.
which was where Riley's Bar used to be.
Yeah.
It's not there anymore.
Right.
You know what it's called?
No.
Did you see the sign? It's called the Dam Bar.
Oh, okay.
It's a damn bar.
All right.
Anyway, so that's a good dad joke opportunity right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
to the damn bar. You at the
Yeah.
damn bar again?
Yeah. Well,
I was.
yeah.
What about
Yeah.
it?
Yes.
Anyway.
Montana Fish, Wildlife Parks again. Northern pocket gopher doing stuff. What's that about?
I've just heard people refer to them as moles and voles,
Yeah.
and they're pocket gophers. The official.
I've learned about pocket gophers this year myself. I was trying to call it a mole, and I was trying to call it a vole. And you know what I
Yeah.
learned? It's a pocket gopher.
pocket gopher, and I read it a long time. There's a great guy, Cotton Ward, who wrote an article for the paper out in Nampa, and he talked a lot about ecology and the outdoors and stuff. And he was very comical, very fun guy. But he talked about the pocket gopher and how people think they're moles or voles, but they're this particular.
Does he have
pocket
any
gopher.
strategies on how to remove them? Because I feel like I've never watched Caddyshack, but I now have a kindred
his pain.
spirit with Bill Murray's character.
Yeah.
Like thing is eating my garden.
So
Anyway.
I thought your dog could
So
maybe.
So my dog is an attack dog on these dumb things and will kill them.
Yeah.
But our dog also likes to eat the vegetation in our garden. So we put a fence up around the garden, and the gopher found respite in the garden.
Yeah, of course.
Coming up from underneath. I mean, we had tomato plants just disappearing.
No.
It was just pulling them down, just eating them, just pulling them.
No.
Yes. I looked up all these different ways to do traps. I've tried all kinds of different traps. I even had a dream the other night that I was putting traps out for her. I mean,
Yeah.
Anyway, but I put carrot. We had these nasty carrots in our fridge, so I'm like, I'm going to try to bait it to these traps because I did the whole thing that I've been looking up on the internet. And the traps didn't get set. It filled up the hole. And so I dug down even deeper and deeper. And I actually found a little roost where it pulled, some of the bark that we use for the cover on the garden. And
Yeah.
I found the pieces of carrot. It had chewed them all up.
Oh, son of a
And
gun.
I still haven't been able to get this stupid thing out. So I have some work to remove all soil and all garden materials. I'm going to put, weed barrier down and a 1/4-inch mesh down.
Yeah.
And then we can have a garden that isn't eaten by the...
Yeah.
Anyway,
I feel you. Okay.
I maybe we talked about this before, so we don't need to stay too long here. We only have a couple things left. We just passed the hour mark.
Yeah.
But Yellowstone bison goring incidents highlight a decreasing awareness of
Yeah,
America.
it's a good year for the bison. I mean, there's a lot. There's like 4 or 5 people tossed by bison already in Yellowstone.
and it's like, don't.
I'm done feeling sorry. If you don't know what's going on with bison in Yellowstone, you don't live on the planet, man.
And they have signs everywhere.
Everywhere.
And I've been. You stop on the roads in Yellowstone where there's some sort of animal. There's a ranger is like Johnny on the spot to those places.
Yeah.
And if you're doing anything out of sorts, they will yell at you like, "Get your car off the pavement, or you can't be there.
Yeah.
And don't get close to the animal, and you stay back." And it's like, and there's still people that do that.
But there's still places where it's so heavily trafficked by humans. I mean, sometimes the bison wander through the Old Faithful geyser. Right?
Yeah.
They're just wandering through.
Yep.
What do you do? How respectful of a distance do you keep? That's so tough. The fountain's going to go off. I want to go get an ice cream cone.
I think. I think that it's about being aware. Like, you don't have to walk up to them, and if they start to approach you, you go farther away from them. So it's more of just be more aware. But a lot of these incidents that you see, they're like, "Oh, look at the cute little buffalo. It wants me to pet it," and then want to walk up to it, and then, "Oh, hey, get this on my TikTok, and let's put this on our Snapchat. And
Right.
look at me. Hey, whoa! You okay, Bill? Bill? Think we need a nurse.
So yeah, there've been a few tourist tossings
Yeah, it's
in Yellowstone.
tourist tossings.
I don't know what to call it, man. It's just people make so much fun of it around here
Yeah.
because we hear about it. It's local news to us, so it's a lot of tourist tossings.
So this is our last article, and I just want you to know, if you're aging, if you're part of an aging population and you like to go to the outdoors, but you find it more and more difficult to find relief when you're out in the outdoors, there is now assistance for you. And I would argue that you don't even have to be a geriatric or even older citizen to enjoy and appreciate what this sort of chamber pot accessory has to offer for you.
The chamber pot accessory. Chamber pot.
The outdoor chamber pot accessory. I'm
Yeah.
dubbing it the crap strap.
The crab strap is perfect.
And it's basically going to hold you in a position to relieve yourself.
The actual position it holds you in is sort of the stripper position. Which
Yeah.
is how I would do. The stripper position
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
stripper
you-
pole.
yeah.
You find a small pine tree that you can just get your knees to 90 degrees at.
Yeah.
Perfect, man. Perfect. Just make sure there's no sap.
Yeah.
But it's hard to hold yourself there. This strap will hold you in that position with both hands free, so
Yeah.
you can text your buddies.
Yeah. And I would bet it's lightweight.
Yeah.
Easy to pack.
Lightweight, and I bet I could use it to help me stretch my hip.
In fact, I kind of want to invent my own crap strap because if you look at this thing, it kind of looks like our bow slings,
It's just a strap.
but it looks like a strap, but like this would
Oh,
go
yeah.
around. So and then the bow sling.
We could just use our bow sling.
I'm just saying,
We could just use the bow sling.
just use the bow sling.
Yeah, it's just a strap.
Make it a multi-tool.
It just goes right across.
Hold on, make it a multi-stool.
It goes right across, right above your butt crack.
Yeah.
And it supports you as you lean back. Perfect. I'm gonna try something like that. I've already ordered an underquilt for my my hammock.
Yeah.
And some other stupid gadget. I don't know.
Well,
I'll see when my Amazon. It was Prime Day this
but
week.
I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued by the crap strap.
Yeah. I know it is one of the most difficult things, and we talk to each other about it. How you doing this morning? Oh, I'm pretty good. You're gonna have to. I got both barrels loaded. You know, something's gonna give.
Speaking of barrels loaded, no. So, but yeah, there's
and we avoid it. We say no, not until I absolutely have to, which is probably how you should be doing it.
yeah.
Really, I mean, you should not be spending 6 hours in the toilet a week.
And yeah,
And if you were doing it outside, it would probably be more like 14, 15 minutes a week.
maybe
If you had to do it like that.
because
Because when you're ready, you walk up and that trees, it's like boom, boom.
because I mean and it's not that you have any problem with being outdoors, is that where you're outdoors at has wild animals,
Yeah.
and you're vulnerable, and the last thing you want to be is caught with your pants down.
The second last thing I want to be caught is with my pants down by an animal.
Well,
The first thing is being caught with my pants down on someone's phone scope.
I didn't realize
That's always in my mind. You go, I want to make sure not only can you not see me, but no one can see me.
I forgot you put your trail cam there. Anyway, that brings our conservation news to an end.
Yep. We'll be back next week, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. Be well, stay awesome.
All right. Goodbye.